There are so many electric cars to choose from these days that sometimes it can become overwhelming, especially when it comes to SUVs. These are becoming a growing trend. So, where does the Genesis GV70 Electrified sit amongst its competitors? It's priced in at about $126,000 before on-road costs. So, is it a worthy competitor against the BMW iX3, the Mercedes EQC, and the Audi e-tron? Or can it dethrone those European counterparts? Well, don't worry guys, because in this review, we are going to find out. My name's Salvatore Gerace, this is Exhaust Notes Australia. Please guys, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss another time we make an upload like this. So let's talk about the design of the 2024 Genesis GV70 Electrified. Well guys, look, to be honest, I really like the design of the Genesis. I think they've done a really good job. I love this signature split headlight design. It continues at the back, at the rear with the rear tail lights, so you know it's a Genesis when this is behind you or if it's in front of you. So I really do like that design. And then matrix LED headlights, just to let you know guys. Also with the Genesis GV70 Electrified, the grille is the same as its petrol counterpart. However, it's a closed off grille because there's no need, because there's no radiators there and stuff for the internal combustion motor. What I do like is that they've hidden the charging port at the front. That is really, really neat. And to be fair, it's kind of smart to put it at the front. I don't know why a lot of car manufacturers put it on the side of the car. Most of the time when you go into these charging stations, you're either parking in front or you're reversing it in, and having it there just makes it a lot easier. So Genesis, well done. But yeah guys, that's the overall front design of the car. What do you guys think? Do you like the design of this, or do you prefer the European counterparts when it comes to the front end? Let me know in the comments. Moving down the side of the car, we've got 22-inch alloy wheels, and what I really like what Genesis has done, instead of giving it just a closed-off design, which most electric cars have, they've actually come up with a really nice 5-spoke design, and I really do like that. What I also like is they've got Genesis written on the brake calipers front and rear. It just makes it a bit more personal and a bit more branded, if I have to say, and I do like that little touch. You got chrome around the window sills, guys. You got chromed roof rails and chrome down the side, just to give that little bit more of a touch of classiness. Like I said, I really do like the design of this car, and I love how the roof just slopes off at the rear here, and then you've got this spoiler that continues at the rear here just to make it a bit more sporty and not so just boring. So the rear end, well, like I said at the front, those signature headlights at the front continue at the back with the rear tail lights. So you got these split tail lights at the back here, really, really nice. LED, by the way, guys, and you got Genesis spelt at the back here. And thank God Genesis has not put fake exhausts. Thank you. So what they've done is they just finish off the rear end just with a plain bumper bar, just to show you that it is not a petrol car, it's an electric car. So I like that they've done that. Then there's an incredibly thin LED strip at the above here on the spoiler, which is your brake light, which is a really, really nice add-on instead of having a huge brake light on the back here. I like that, it's classy, it's elegant, and it's just a nice finish. So what is this like for a family? Well, let's talk about boot capacity. I do like how the boot button is on the rear wiper. It's a nice integration instead of changing your bumper design or your rear tailgate design to fit that. So you press that, and then you are exposed to 503 liters of boot capacity. And then if you chuck down the rear seats by the little latches on the side here, you increase that boot capacity to just over 1,600 liters. And then you've got a frunk at the front of 22 liters. Let's talk about charging capabilities. Well, you've got AC and DC charging. From an 11 kilowatt hour AC charger, you can expect this to charge from 10 to 80% in around 7 hours. However, with a 350 kilowatt DC charger, you can expect this to charge from 10 to 80% in 18 minutes. That is very rapid. Another thing to note, guys, you can actually charge your home devices from your car, which is pretty cool. And the range, you're looking at around about, say, a 450 kilometer range, which they claim, but from what I experienced, you're looking at around about, say, between 415 to 420 kilometers, which is not too bad for an electric car. And then your economy comes in at around about 19.4 kilowatt hours per 100 Ks. Okay, so let's talk about the overall design of the Genesis GV70 Electrified when it comes to its interior. And to be honest, this is where I think this car trumps its European counterparts. And it's very surprising. The materials used throughout this cabin and the build quality is just on point. I mean, there's leather all across the dash, and even when you go further down, it continues. Then you've got these exquisite buttons that they use and like an aluminium effect everywhere. And it's just really, really well put together. I love these Napa leather seats, okay, with a diamond pattern on the seats. It's just gorgeous. And then you've got like this white Alcantara roof lining. It's just such a nice cabin to be in. And then you go down to the floors and there's like these lush floor carpets down the bottom, and then you've got this beautiful ambient lighting that makes you feel like you're in an actual cocktail bar. And then I love on the dash this strip of aluminium that continues right through the whole dash and through the doors and through the air vents. Honestly, Genesis, you've done such a great job with the interior design of this car. It's just a really, really nice cabin to be in. All right, let's talk about tech. So you have a 12.3-inch driver's display, which operates all your functions that you would expect it to do. And it's also 3D, so you can have a 3D effect on it. It's pretty cool. Then you have a 14.5-inch infotainment screen, which is touchscreen, and you can use the swivel wheel down here to operate it. It's quite annoying that it is very far away from you. You notice that when you're driving for the touchscreen, but you end up using swivel because it's just a lot easier. You also have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and you have a wireless phone charging station down here that you can put your phone, and there's a nice pocket to cover it. What is disappointing is you'd expect it to have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Unfortunately, it is wired. Another neat feature is there's a fingerprint down here when you get into the car, which if you press on it with your fingerprint, it will preload everything in the car to your setting, which is quite neat. I really like that. You also have a 16-speaker Lexicon sound system, which is really clear and just nice. And you've got a digital head-up display as well. What I don't like, guys, is this swivel wheel, and hear me out, and this is the reason why. It's because you have a swivel wheel for your drive select. What you tend to end up doing when you're driving is you go to change gears from drive to neutral instead of actually using the swivel wheel for your infotainment screen. I don't understand why they just didn't put buttons for this. Because it's an electric car, you really don't need a gear stick or a swivel wheel to select gears. You could just have buttons. So that would have been a lot better than having this swivel wheel, because you do get confused while driving. That is just a bit of disappointment in my eyes. So in terms of comfort, well, you've got a heated steering wheel, dual climate control with heated and cooled seats. You also got this function which the Genesis has, which is called Ergo Comfort, which is there's air cells in the seats which give you a massage, which is pretty cool. And also the bolsters blow up and squeeze you when you go really fast, which is pretty cool. Another neat feature which I really like on this Genesis is what they've done is, do you notice when you're driving, right, and you go to change your seat settings, right, you cannot see what you're actually touching, and most of the time you're moving the seat back and forth, and you get really annoyed. Well, Genesis has thought about this. So when you touch the seat controls down on the side of the seat, they actually show up on the screen, so you know exactly what you're operating. I think that's a really, really neat feature. Storage, well, like I said before, you've got a wireless phone charging station here, which has got like a little cubby hold for that, which is really cool. You've got plenty of space in the center armrest. You got big enough door bins, especially for a flask, and you got a glove box that is plenty big for your gloves. And that's about it. So how safe is the Genesis GV70? Well, it is actually really, really safe. Now, things that it has, I'm not going to mention all the safety features because this video will just go on for days. I'm just going to mention some of them. If you want to see what exact features this car has, please go read my written review. So it has lane departure warning, lane keeping assist, semi-autonomous driving. It's got radar cruise control. It's got lane departure warning. It's got when you open your door, it will notify you if someone's coming past you, or a car, a bike, a cyclist, or anything of that matter. It's got pedestrian detection. It's got a safe bonnet, which they call the pedestrian bonnet for safety. It's got so many safety features, it's actually ridiculous. And sometimes it's quite annoying, because when you're driving and you go to change lanes, all you keep hearing is beeps and things constantly happening left, right, and center. And as always with most cars, to turn most of those systems off, you have to go through so many settings, through the infotainment screen. Again, why can't they just be a quick button? I don't know why they don't do that. Back seats, right? Guys, I do need to mention this because I am in awe of this car's just sheer quality and design. With most cars in this segment, they generally do not continue the leather in the back and the continual quality of the front, but this is in the back. So that beautiful design and quality that you see in the front continues into the back seat. So I really do like that. But talking about this in the back here, so you've got plenty of knee room, plenty of foot room and plenty of headroom. You've also got a blind here, which I honestly think is quite neat. Look, I've got a Bubba and we buy the aftermarket, like stick-on blinds and magnets. Having that there just makes it really convenient if you're buying this car for a family car. The seats can obviously recline as well, so you can get a bit more, comfortable. And then you got a third row of climate control systems at the back here, plus heated seats, no cooled seats unfortunately, and USB-A charging down the bottom here. Another neat feature is you can actually move the seat in front of you, not the driver's seat obviously, but the passenger front seat, which is really, again, really good if you've got a baby seat because it's very convenient, but it's also a good way to troll the person in front of you. You can just irritate them by constantly moving their seat. Let's talk about the specs. So you have 2 electric motors, which is all-wheel drive, obviously. A 77 kilowatt hour battery, allowing this car to produce 320 kilowatts and 605 Newton meters of torque in normal mode. In boost mode, you get 360 kilowatts and 700 Newton meters of torque. What does that mean for a 0 to 100 time? Well, that means if I press boost mode, 0 to 100 time, in 4.2 seconds. That is rapid. And to be honest, it's enough for a car like this. The unfortunate thing is that boost mode is only a 10-second mode, which is unfortunate because I think in a car like this, why not just make that an actual drive mode? Don't you think? Talking about drive modes, you have 4 drive modes. You have Eco, Comfort, Sport, and My. You also have a terrain mode, which I don't understand why. You really aren't gonna take this car off-road. It's like wearing sneakers with a suit. Are you gonna go for a run? Not really. In terms of ride comfort, guys, well, it comes with adaptive dampers, which is really, really noticeable. What adaptive dampers does is it reads the road ahead of you and then determines how it should adjust the suspension accordingly, so you have a really, really nice ride. And it actually does ride really, really well. In terms of regenerative braking, well, you have 4 modes. You have a mode that's not aggressive, semi-aggressive, really aggressive, and then the I-pedal mode, which is single pedal driving. I don't like it because it feels very intrusive and you brake really hard. Other people do really enjoy it, but it will come to a complete stop for you, which is really, really good. All right, so what's this car like when you want to be a bit sporty? Well, put it in sport mode and the seat bolsters will come in and tighten around you and the steering will stiffen up and the suspension will become really stiff, and it does actually become quite an enjoyable electric SUV to drive. Only downfall is that the all-wheel drive system predominantly feels front-wheel drive bias, and you can really feel that in the corners. Now, there's no getting away that this does weigh just over 2 tons, but if it was rear-wheel drive bias, it would improve its cornering capabilities and make it a bit more of a joyful experience in the corners. Another thing to note is that you can change the noises this car makes through the settings, and you've got futuristic, S engine, which obviously means sport, and then E engine, and then custom sound. Look, guys, to be fair, this is a really, really nice car to drive. The speed that this car can obtain from its electric motors from that 0 to 100 time is actually quite rapid, and to be honest, fast enough. It's my verdict of the GV70 Electrified. Well, it's plain and simple, guys. I honestly think all electric cars just drive the same. I'm sorry, that's just what I think. Which brings me on to, why would you pay the marked up prices for the European counterparts, where this top of the line Genesis GV70 does everything as good or even some things better than the top of the range equivalents of the EQC Mercedes, the e-tron Audi, and the BMW iX3. Like the interior, for example. I think this interior is absolutely gorgeous compared to them. So, plain and simple, if you're going to buy an electric SUV, just go buy yourself a Genesis GV70. Trust me, you're not going to be disappointed. It's a good looking car. It drives really well. It's gorgeous inside. And it's still a statement at the end of the day.